Hello, my name is Michael Piotrkowicz, and I am professional martial arts trainer. Today we are going to deal with the long bo stick, otherwise known as Rokushaku bo. Some time ago I already posted such introductory footage about the stick, shot at the karate camp. But today I wanted to give you some basic information in sort of more comfortable style. Okay? The stick is the basic weapon of Kobudo, the Okinawan art of fighting with traditional weapons. Basically, you have 5 weapons, the most commonly used ones. Bo stick, Rokushaku bo, okay, stick that is roughly 1.8 meters, a long stick, kamas, the Japanese sickles, tonfas. It is from them that the new model of police baton is derived, nunchaku and sai. So this is the only such basic long weapon in this arsenal. I will take a moment to talk about Kobudo itself. Kobudo was born in the same place where karate was born, that is, in Okinawa, and was usually practiced alongside to karate. Because hand-to-hand martial arts, well, fine. But what if the opponent has a sword? What if he's an invader or he came from the greater islands of Japan? There was no ban on possession of weapons. Because in Okinawa, after one of the 3 kingdoms of the Ryukyu archipelago gained dominance, there was an edict by the king of Okinawa to ban weapons. Kobudo weapons are derived from everyday tools, so formally they are not weapons. So the local caste of bushi fighters, later samurai, used such tools and did not train jiu-jitsu, but trained karate. Back then, karate was called a little different, tode or tedo. Doesn't matter. Kobudo was this art of fighting with weapons, which weren't necessarily a weapon. Then the king of Okinawa became a fiefdom of the shogunate. And this sort of prolonged this edict to ban weapons on Okinawa. It's interesting because Okinawa was a crossroad of different influences, different cultures. Okinawa itself is geographically closer to China than to Japan. So at one time it was also a fiefdom of China, and at that time, because of being really a province of Japan, established trade relations with Portuguese, if I remember correctly. So everything crossed there, and the king of Okinawa embraced that pretty well. He made himself such a free trade zone. Well, going back to the bo stick, when we grab the stick about halfway through, holding it like this, we are in yoru position. This is a standby position. This is how we bow with the stick. It shouldn't lean forward along with the body. Now, the natural grip in the stick is that grip where one hand is under the grip and the other is over the grip. And the stick is divided into 3 equal parts. A good Kobudo practitioner, specifically Bojutsu practitioner, uses all 3 segments and both ends of the stick equally. If we have a spear, we mainly use the end on which the blade was attached. If we have a halberd, the techniques can be different, Okay, but still, we are mainly using only one end. But if we have a stick, we use both ends and even the middle. So the stick is truly the king of pole weapons. If you know how to use a stick, the use of a spear, halberd or glaive, or yari or naginata will be trivial. There are two translations of this grasp. One way is as follows. It is important that the hands constantly embrace the stick and make contact with it. The other is that the hands pass each other with a slip. There is a moment when it looks more or less like this. And these are the two ways that are used. Now that we've said a bit about the grip, the yoi position and the way of bowing, and general certain uses for each part of the stick, let's say what kind of weapon the stick is. The stick is primarily a defensive weapon. Why? Because every part of the stick can be used for defense, but not every part of it can be used to attack. If I hit someone with the middle of the stick, it can be at most an auxiliary technique. This is such a simple example. And now, I will show you the basic positions with the stick. We stand in yoi, rei, the bow, bo gohon kamae, or 5 stances with the stick, chudan. It is important to tighten the wrists a little and keep the stick on the center axis of the body. Front leg, bend, the Zenkutsudachi stance. Now, Gedan Kamae. We protect the inside of the thigh and lower the stick straight so the tip is at the knee level. Hidari Jodan Kamae. Pay attention that the tip is still further in front here, but the stick itself is not overhead vertically, because now I would have a problem judging the distance to you, but this way, so that I can see the opponent. Here. Waki Kamae. The stick is still pointing slightly inwards. Keep the stick at the hip. Hasu Kamae. This way, at the chest and at an angle. Not like this, but here. Back to Chudan Kamae. And this is the end of the sequence. Each position is used for something else. Chudan Kamae is the universal fighting position. Gedan Kamae is a position that takes protection of the legs. Waki Kamae is a position used for a swing, sometimes also used in combat, as it is only different from normal Chudan Kamae in terms of a grip. Jodan Kamae rather used as a sweep than as a fighting position, because the left hand is too easy target here. Hasso Kamae is a guard position, a standby position, rarely used as a fighting position. But if someone wants to cut my hand, I can step back like this and give it back to him very quickly, used in combat for dodging, for various things like that. And once again, we'll do it as side by side, so that you don't miss it. It goes like this. Chudan, Gedan, Jodan, Waki, Hasso, back to Chudan, and that's the 5 stances with the stick. Of course, you can do each of these postures in left and right variation. You can change a little bit the dachi, which is the position of the feet. In fact, most of these positions are defined by the stick position. You have a tool, so
It is the priority. This is Jodan Kamae, because the stick is high. This is Waki Kamae, because the stick is at the hip. And so on and so forth. It's Chudan because the stick is in the Chudan zone. That's the way it is, and that's the difference between Kobudo and karate. The footwork, the positions that are acceptable. You can stand in kokutsu, in zenkutsu, in kibadachi, in shikodachi, and so on. It's not the kamae. Here, it's mainly a stick position, fused with some basic form in terms of leg position. This is the position of the whole body, but mainly the position in which we hold the stick. The positions are covered. Now we will move on to the attack. I won't take each attack apart, but I will perform bo semenowaza, or stick attack techniques. It looks like this. Bo semenowaza. Standing in stance. Chudanski. Chudan nukitsuki, sliding. Hassokamae, otoshitsuki. Uchi otoshi. Ageuchi. Yoko uchi and ura uchi. And again. Bo semenowaza. And it looks like this. I twist my hip, I twist the stick around my axis, I tighten it, and it's morotetsuki. And I move backwards. Then like this. Here I move the stick back a little bit, and right hand continues to aim in your direction. I twist hard. The stick goes under the armpit. I aim the end of the stick straight at the opponent. Slide thrust. Renojidachi, the L letter position. Otoshitsuki. I extend the position to zenkutsu. Again, I act with a little sliding. I twist my hip here. And we have this falling otoshitsuki. Uchi otoshi. A sweep here from the shoulder, on a slant. I catch a little under the elbow and make a slant cut. The stick rotates, so that if it hits with the very tip, I make a lacerated wound on your face. Okay? From the bottom. The stick rotates on its own axis, and I cut from below. Then gyakutsuki. A short push here. I basically put the stick on my shoulder. This way I lower it. I rotate my body and change position from zenkutsu dachi to shikodachi. And this way I cut into the kidney, over the head. And this way I twist such a circle here. And this leg movement gives me even more strength. Ura-uchi. Back to the kamae. And once again. Semenowaza. Semenowaza. Good. And this is how it should look like. I'll show you the side again. Semenowaza. Slowly. And quickly, Semenowaza. Okay, and what do we have in this sequence? We have few basic thrusts, not all of them, but only selected ones, few basic cuts, and few spinning techniques. So this is merely a selection of techniques that are used in Bojutsu, so that there is no misunderstanding, there is much more. Okay, we will move on to the blocks. Ukenowaza. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, as you saw, Semenowaza, or attack techniques, had this kind of front-back work. A couple of times there was something there to the sides, just to get more force out of the cut. Whereas in Ukenowaza, I mainly create an angle in the defensive, going diagonally backward or forward, but never really doing straight work. Spiral block, descending at the 45-degree angle along the circle. Uchi-uke, working hard with the wrist, the other hand at the hip, against the body, always one hand by the body. In the other direction, soto-uke, like a rotated J letter. Twist the wrist, the other hand also by the body. Legs at an angle of 45 degrees. Sukuyu-uke, again 45 degrees in the other direction. Here would potentially be a vertical cut from above. Sukuyu-uke, block, scoop, as if you were picking up water. Gedan-uke, step backward. This is such a side position, basically back position. Ushiro Zenkutsudachi. Basically, such a prototype, the Kokutsu position. Yoko-uke, Fudodachi. I cover myself with the middle segment of the stick, or the lower segment. The back leg bent, to give stability to the block. On the other side, to Zenkutsu. It's either block here or here, the second Yoko-uke, and either vertically, if it's on a chudan, or slightly angled, if it's not. Gedan barai. This way. This is analogous to karateka gedan barai. Here, similar hand movement. Gyaku gedan barai. Under the other side, shorter block in a small arc. These are all defensive techniques. I'll do it one more time. Ukenowaza.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Here we don't shout kiai, because there's no counter. These are just blocks. And by the side, Ukenowaza. And again. And just like with attack techniques, what I have shown doesn't show all the defensive techniques in any way. It's just a selection. There are blocks for thrusts first, then a block for an overhead cut, then a block for a leg cut, for side cuts, and finally some spinning techniques, just like in Bo Semenowaza. Bo Ukenawaza is a difficult sequence where different leg positions appear, where the footwork is very complicated. So if someone doesn't have the basics from karate, then you have to catch up. Learn how to walk down the circle, do body rotations, tai sabaki, stepping off the line. Know that there are different body positions, foot positions, and catch up. And in the meantime, we are finishing up now. So, as not to prolong, see you next time. I will be consequently posting a video about each of these 5 Kobudo weapons. An instructional one, where I will leave you such a basic information about these weapons. I also encourage you to train with the stick, especially since it has corrective properties. If I make a cut with one hand, the other hand is introduced by the stick, and the body works very symmetrically. This is not fencing, where there is dominance of one side of the body. The connection of the stick with both hands will make you a little less asymmetrical. This is very healthy, aside from the fact that the topic is interesting. See you next time. Subscribe, comment and like. Thank you for your attention.